الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. أما بعد, we'll continue our class in going over the book الأجوبة الوادعية على الأسئلة النسائية, the answers of Sheikh Muqbil bin Hadi al-Wadi'i rahimahullah on questions related to the matters of the women. And we're still in the chapter related to the matters of the menses, pregnancy and bleeding after giving birth. And تقول السائلة: المرأة متى يمكن أن تحيض وهي صغيرة؟ يعني ما هو أصغر سن للمرأة في أن تحيض فيها? So the question is, what is the youngest a woman can have her menses? What is the youngest age that a woman or a young girl could have menses? قال الشيخ رحمه الله: ذكر الإمام الشافعي رحمه الله أنه يمكن أن تحيض ل9 سنين. So the Shaykh rahimahullah, he said, Shafi'i rahimahullah, he mentioned that a girl could have her menses at the age of 9. قال الشافعي رحمه الله: وأكثر النساء اللاتي يحضن مبكرات نساء التهائم مثل نساء مكة ونساء الحديدة وجدة ما أشبه ذلك. نعم. So he mentioned 9 years old. Wallahu alam. And perhaps he meant areas where it is warm areas. Women could have their menses earlier based on the area and the climate in the area. Wallahu alam. ويقول الشافعي رحمه الله, وهذا مذكور في مجموع النووي. يقول: وهو مشهور عن الإمام الشافعي رحمه الله. So النووي رحمه الله, he mentioned that الإمام الشافعي رحمه الله, he said: رأيت جدة ابنة 21 سنة. He said that he met a grandmother who was 21 years old. وهي جدة, هذا أيضا لا ينكر. She's a grandmother. And this is something that is not, it's strange, but it's not something that could not happen or is impossible. قال: فقد رأيت في كتاب العقم للرجال والنساء أنه يمكن أن تحيض البنت ل8 سنين. الشيخ رحمه الله, he said that he read in one book that in more like a medical type book, that a woman or a girl could have her menses at the age of 8. أما الكبيرة فهن يختلفن، ربما بعضهن يحضن إلى آخر أعمارهن. المهم أن النساء يختلفن في الصغر وفي الكبر. And he said, as for the last age, or the oldest that a woman could have her menses, he said women are different. Some of them continue to have regular menses until they die, until they reach old age and they die, meaning they don't become menopausal and their menses does not stop. So women are different. Each woman is different than another in regards to that. وتقول سائلة: إذا انقطع الدم عن المرأة ثم مكثت المرأة يوما أو يومين تصلي ثم رأت الدم، هل هذا الدم من الحيض؟ So a woman asked, if a woman, her menses, the bleeding of her menses stops, and she starts praying for a day or two, and then she sees the blood again, is this considered a menses or is it a vein? قال: ذلك الدم إن كان في وقت العادة فهو يعتبر حيضا، عليها أن تقضي ما صامته إذا صامت قبله، وإن لم يكن في وقت العادة فلا يعتبر. So he said this blood, if it is during the time of her menses, then it would be considered from her menses. And if she fasted any days between the time that her first bleeding ended and this second blood that came a day or two later, if she fasted for a day or two or whatever she did, the fasting she has to be made up, because she is considered to be on her menses even during that time when she was seeing no blood. Whereas he said, if this bleeding came outside the days of her normal menses and regular menses, then she considers it to be vain, and she does not consider it to be her menses. وقد مر معنا فيما سبق كلام الشيخ رحمه الله أنه إذا تكرر معها 3 حيض فإنها تعتبر أن حيضتها اختلفت، يعني حتى لو لم يكن في وقت عادتها. هذا الدم الذي أتاها بعد انقطاع الدم بيوم أو يومين، إذا جاءها بعد يوم أو يومين من انقطاع دم حيضتها دم واعتبرته استحاضة، ثم جاءها بعد شهر وكذلك في الشهر الثالث إذا تكرر 3 أشهر على التوالي، فإنها تعتبره جزءا من حيضتها، تعتبر أن حيضتها اختلفت. We already mentioned and we already read the answer of Shaykh rahimahullah regarding that if this happens, meaning that her blood from her menses stops, and then for a day or 2, and then she sees, or 3, and then she sees bleeding again, she considers it to be a vein. If it's not in the time of her menses, the time and the days of her menses have ended, but she saw blood a couple of days after her menses ended, she considers it to be a vein. However, if this happens 3 months in a row, so for 3 months in a row, she finishes her menses, waits a day or 2, and then she sees some bleeding afterwards, then she considers that her menses has changed, and now her menses, that it stops for a little bit, and then she sees the blood for a few days, and then it ends again. And so she considers all of that time, even the time when she is not seeing any blood, she considers it to be a part of her menses. We already mentioned that in a previous answer. Now, ثم نعم السؤال الذي بعده: هل الكدرة والصفرة من الحيض؟ يعني هذا blood that has light red or yellow color, is it from the blood, is it from the menses? قال الشيخ رحمه الله: كانت النساء يأتين عائشة رضي الله عنها, the women used to come to Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, ويقولن إنهن يجلسن في مركن حتى ينظرن هل قد انقطع الدم أم لا، فتقول عائشة رضي الله عنها: لا تتعجلن فإنما كنا ما نقطع بالطهر حتى نرى القصة البيضاء، والكدرة والصفرة في زمن الحيض يعتبران حيضا. So Aisha, the women, they used to come and ask her that they look to see if the bleeding has stopped, and Aisha radiallahu anha used to tell them to not hasten and rather wait until they see the white the white coming out, then they consider that they are no longer in their menses. And then Aisha radiallahu anha, she mentioned, or that in general, the yellow or pink color blood during the time of the menses is considered a part of the menses. نعم. وفي غير زمن الحيض لا يعتبران حيضا, whereas outside the time of the menses, yellow and pink blood is not considered from the menses if it is not in the time of the menses. أم عطية رضي الله عنها في صحيح البخاري, وقد بوب الإمام البخاري على هذا أنه إذا كان في زمن الحيض فيعتبر حيضا, وإذا كان في غير زمن الحيض فلا يعتبر حيضا, على أن زيادة بعد الطهر ليست في البخاري ولكنها في غيره من المراجع من كتب السنة, ولفظه ما كنا نعد الكدرة والصفرة بعد الطهر شيئا. في لفظة بعد الطهر هذه اللفظة ثابتة عند البخاري ولو لم يخرجها, فقد ترجم بهذا المعنى أنها إذا كانت بعد زمن الحيض لا يعتبران حيضا, وإذا كانت في زمن الحيض فيعتبران حيضا. So in general, the Shaykh rahimahullah went on to discuss the hadith, and the hadith basically states, and he said that it is authentic, rahimahullah, and that the hadith itself is in Sahih al-Bukhari. However, some of the wording is not in Sahih al-Bukhari. However, Imam Bukhari, rahimahullah, he actually used those words as part of the chapter heading. So therefore, he considers them to be correct and valid. The point is, Atiyya, radiyallahu anha, she said that they used to consider the yellow and pink blood at the time of the menses to be a part of the menses, to be blood of the menses. And after the time of the menses, after purity from the menses and the menses ends, they used to consider the pink and yellow blood to be nothing. They used to consider it nothing. meaning that it does not affect their purity and it is not considered a part of their menses. ونكتفي بهذا المقدار، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين.